The latest news and the week's top stories on RT International. Islamic State edges closer to the capitals of Syria and Iraq, while Washington works to revise its troubled strategy against the terrorists. Also this hour.
This is all the result of just one artillery hit, one shell.
Deadly shelling hits a residential building in eastern Ukraine. We bring you exclusive footage and a witness account from the immediate aftermath of the attack. The European Union is divided over plans to introduce mandatory migrant quotas for member states, with already a dozen countries refusing the idea. Plus, anti-establishment forces hoping to prove a point in regional elections today in Spain, ultimately putting into question the traditional two-party system. The week's top stories and the top headlines of today. Welcome to the Weekly on RT International. I'm Rory Souchet. The Iraqi military has launched a counter-offensive on the key city of Ramadi right here, which was recently captured by Islamic State. Then if you travel west across the border, the terrorists are cementing their grip on the ancient Syrian city of Palmyra after government troops were forced to retreat. And the extremist group has been edging ever closer to the capitals of both countries. Well, the Islamic State advance has cast fresh doubts on the effectiveness of the U.S. strategy in the region. Washington's been bombing the terror group since last summer, insisting that the terrorists are being decimated and they're on the back foot.
American leadership, including our military power, is stopping ISIL's advance.
From what I've seen of what we're doing in Iraq today is we're pushing ISIL back, and we will push them out of Iraq ultimately.
Well, the White House is now scrambling to respond to the very different realities on the ground. The U.S.-backed Iraqi military simply is not getting the job done. So President Obama is reportedly pushing for a new strategy to train and equip local Sunni tribes so they can go head-to-head with Islamic State. Now, this comes as Washington is speeding up the delivery of even more weapons to the embattled Iraqi army, though there are fresh fears the firepower could go straight into the wrong hands. Islamic State is known to be taking advantage of American-made weapons, which the group seized from local forces. Now, these pictures obtained by RT show the Iraqi army raiding that of a terrorist warehouse. And some of the equipment has clearly visible U.S. markings, although it's not exactly clear how that specific batch ended up with Islamic State. Of course, though, sadly, it's not the first time that American military hardware has been spotted right on the front line or the wrong sides of that front line. In fact, it was just last October. Islamic State forces near the Syrian city of Kobani received an unexpected package of U.S.-made weapons. Now, the cash was meant for Kurdish resistance fighters, but was airdropped in the wrong place and ended up being used against the Kurds. The terrorists are also enjoying dozens of American military vehicles and Toyota pickup trucks they're getting from the Iraqi army. We asked some observers why Washington's tactics so far have proven so ineffective.
The strategy that could be successful in Iraq in terms of defeating ISIS is not simply a question of sending more weapons. There fundamentally has to be a political strategy that can win over disgruntled, alienated segments of the Iraqi Sunni community who have given up, who have been marginalized and discriminated against. And until that plan happens, then I don't think weapons by themselves are going to change the political or military equation on the ground.
ISIS is a group which is a militant, non-conventional army. So ISIS knows how to redeploy, it knows how to evade airstrikes, it knows how to deploy in areas where the US really can't airstrike them. So the problem is, when Iraqi forces are fighting ISIS, the US is reluctant to use airstrikes, which is a a fatal strategic error present in areas of Tikrit. I mean, Tikrit, the Iraqi armed forces fought for a long period of time without US Air Force assisting them in any way, shape or form. So Ramadi is so significant that it needs the whole of the coalition to work in consensus to retake it. But the US shows no real desire of fighting ISIS. Its airstrikes have been symbolic at best, and it has left the Iraqis to fend for themselves in what is a situation and a geopolitical conflict in which the United States helped create at the start.